then we'll carry on from there. So over to you, Carla.
Thank you, Martin. Lovely to see you all today, and thanks for having me talking to you. For those of you that I haven't met yet, my name's Carla Brown, and I'm CEO of Oakmere Wealth Management based up in Cheshire, and also currently the president and chair of the Personal Finance Society. So, in short, I've got 2 day jobs at the moment, but somehow there's still not enough hours or enough wine in the day to get me through it, but I'm working on that. So, let's be honest, it's been a tough few years for the PFS. We've weathered some governance challenges, we've had questions around independence, and there really has been a lot of soul searching at board level about what kind of organisation we want to be. And I know Craig will back me up on this. And I've got to say, at times, it's been really frustrating. It's been very upsetting. It's been disheartening, both for us and for many of our members. But I think despite all that, the spirit of our profession has really held firm. And if anything, it's made us, and certainly me, more determined to serve our members, to rebuild trust, and to focus on what really matters. And to my mind, that's helping you deliver great outcomes for your clients and making our profession stronger for the future. So today, I just want to take a few minutes to talk you through some of the stuff that's happening at the PFS, what we've been working on, what we've got coming up, and also how you can play your part in helping us to shape the future, because it's your profession. So let's kick off by looking back at the MDRT UK Day back in March, which sadly I wasn't able to make because I was away on holiday, but I've heard the most amazing feedback, and I hear it was a genuinely brilliant event. So well done to everybody who helped put that on. In terms of the stats, we had a 20% increase in registrations compared to last year and a 24% rise in actual attendees, which is great. The attendance rate, once we'd actually factored in cancellations, hit 72%, which for a London event is very impressive. So well done. And what stood out? Well, first of all, 92% of attendees were PFS members, and nearly 1 in 5 were both PFS and MDRT. So that really does show to us the strength of the crossover and the appetite that's out there for this kind of joint experience. So as I said, the feedback was fantastic. I've heard that it was inspiring, grounded, memorable. The panel sessions struck the right balance of practical and provocative. And the real success of any event is that people actually came back after lunch. So you know it's a good conference when that happens. The atmosphere I've heard was energising, and it reminded us of the power of connection. So the value in coming together as a professional community to learn, to share best practice, and to be inspired. So let's look forward to 2026 and what that's going to look like. So this year marks the 20th anniversary of the PFS, and it's a chance not only to reflect on how far we've come, but also to look ahead with ambition and with clarity. So every PFS president takes a theme for their year, and my theme is education, because I believe that it underpins everything that we do. I've got a real desire for self-learning, and I think education is so important. So whether that's technical knowledge, communication skills, emotional intelligence, confidence building, education is the thread that runs through everything and through every great financial planning journey. We take our clients on educational journeys. So our strategy for education focuses on three key areas. First of all, number one, supporting our members. So we're looking to give clear, up-to-date guidance on topics like consumer duty, economic abuse, sustainability, and professional ethics. So if anybody hasn't seen the paper that came out on economic abuse early this year, I would urge you to take a look. And we've got one coming up about fair value very shortly as well. We're rethinking how we deliver CPD. We know it's not up to scratch. So we're trying to blend in-person events with local engagement and digital access to make learning more flexible. And we know we need better ways of recording the CPD, so we're working on that. And the third point is public education. And this is through financial literacy initiatives and outreach programs, which are designed to support young people and adults alike. And I'll come on to that in a bit more detail in a moment. So in 2025, we're enhancing our online workshops. We're covering practical topics such as inheritance tax planning, tax efficiency, mortgage advice. I know there's a session being advertised at the moment around investment bonds. And we're also trying to looking to revamp the PFP magazine and the podcast because they've become a bit stale. So we're trying to offer some richer content, which is tailored more to financial planners and para planners. And we're evolving. we're trying to move from being a provider of technical CPD to becoming your lifelong learning partner. So whether you're newly qualified or you're getting closer to retirement, we want to be part of your journey. So watch this space. And let's talk about the future, because if we want a thriving profession tomorrow, we need to be acting today. Attracting new talent is essential, and it's clear that we've got this gap at the moment that's emerging. But we don't just want any talent. We want a more diverse, more dynamic, and more representative pipeline as professionals who actually represent the clients that we serve. So, as a profession, we've spent too long relying on people just falling into financial planning, as I'm sure a lot of us did. But that approach is no longer good enough. We need to be more proactive. We need to be visible in schools, visible in colleges, universities, and online. We need to be trying to get young people to see financial planning as a career of choice rather than something they just happen across. And we've got some really good initiatives coming up around this. This is where our pathway to the profession comes in. And you're going to hear more about this in July when it gets launched. But it's a wide-ranging initiative aimed at creating structured, supported entry routes into financial planning and power planning. So it's going to include things like expanding our school outreach through the My Personal Finance Skills programme. We're going to be growing our virtual work experience in partnership with SpringPod, which last year introduced 3,800 students to financial planning. We're going to be supporting apprenticeships and the pilot of the new T-level in finance. We're also going to be launching a new generation programme and providing mentoring, coaching and peer networks, which, as we all know, it all works through MDRT, but we're trying to keep people in the profession once they actually arrive. We want them to thrive once they get here. Now, we've already reached over 100,000 students with the school outreach programme, which is just fantastic. That's 100,000 students that wouldn't otherwise have had financial planning education. We're also a recognised bronze skill partner with the Duke of Edinburgh Award, and we're planning further national partnerships this year. So again, watch this space. But we're not stopping there. We really want to scale these efforts. We want to make financial planning a visible, exciting and values-led career choice for young people across the UK. So please do help us to spread the word, because we can't do it on our own. We need your help. So could you volunteer an hour a year at a local school? Could you work with a local scout group? Could you offer work experience? Could you mentor a new starter? The future of the profession really is in our hands, but together we can help make a difference. Now, just looking at events for a moment, events really are at the heart of member engagement. And in 2025, we're levelling this up. We took on board the feedback that we heard from the last year. It wasn't great. And you told us that we'd scaled it back too far and it really didn't work. So this year we've tried to readdress the balance. We've got 10 central roadshows in spring, summer and autumn. We've got about 50 PFS local events powered by passionate regional volunteers and committees. And we've got a new conference in September, the Business of Advice, which is a one-day conference aimed at business owners and senior leaders, and that's in London on the 10th of September. And if you didn't make it to our flagship event last year, which was the national conference in Manchester, then please come along to the London Excel on the 13th of November. Last year we had about 1,500 members attend. This year we're hoping it's going to be even bigger. It's a brilliant event. The energy is amazing. Do come along. And we're also going to have our officers conference for local volunteers the day before. So our events aren't just about learning, they're about connecting. We all know the benefit of this. And they bring the passion together in a way that energizes, it uplifts us, and it reminds us why we do what we do. We all love what we do. Let's spread the word. And also not forgetting digital, because not everybody wants to go to in-person events. We've now got over 300 on-demand webinars, which you can access through CPD anytime, anywhere. And we're also developing some bite-sized learning, because not everybody wants to sit and watch a long-form webinar. We're looking at bringing out some short-form content as well. So whatever way you like to learn, we're investing in formats that are going to work for you. We're really trying to make this more accessible. And as I mentioned before, we're also looking at a way of trying to get the CPD recorded digitally for you as well. So that's a work in progress. I can't give you a timescale on that, but it is something that's a priority. So we want the PFS to be a place where every member feels supported, valued, and feels they've got the skill set and the tools behind them to be able to succeed. So here's what's available to you right now, and I'll put some links in the chat once I finish talking. We've got PFS Power. This really is my baby. It's a treasure trove of 400 plus resources on human skills, inclusive planning, vulnerability, client relationships, fact finding, and it's built by practitioners for practitioners. So if you haven't looked at it, head over to pfspower.org. We've also got the Paraplanner HQ, which is a vibrant online community. It's a resource hub tailored with CPD and event access. Both of those groups have got their own LinkedIn group, so come along and join those. We've got Future Me, which is a self-development tool working alongside the professional map that helps people reflect on their career goals and build a CPD path, and also plan the way that they want their career to progress. We've got Connect, which is the mentoring platform, so supporting those who want to give guidance and also those who want guidance. And then later in September, we've got our new generation program launching. So this has been done for the insurance side of the business before, but never for FS. So it's a year-long development track for young professionals, emerging professionals. So if you've got someone in your practice, or you know somebody who's new to financial planning, then get them to have a look at the new generation programs. It's brilliant. I've seen the program for it. And then we've also got the Forces Money Plan, pro bono initiative, giving financial advice to veterans and serving members of the armed forces. And of course, we've got the My Personal Finance Skills Education Programme, where you can go into school to deliver financial education. If you haven't done it, honestly, it's an education for us as well as the students. It's really rewarding. And of course, we're going to continue to champion excellence through the PFS Awards and the Apprenticeship Awards. And as a former winner of the Chartered Financial Planner of the Year Award, I would not hesitate to recommend entering these. They are brilliant. The awards look to showcase best practice and really celebrate your achievements. They're not easy awards to win. And it also helps raise the profile of the great work that we're doing across the profession. And we also want to hear from you. So if you've got an idea for a new guide, a new white paper, if you want to volunteer with the regional committees, or if you've got event suggestions, or you've got feedback, please do get in touch. I'll pop my PFS email into the chat. But again, your voice really does shape what we do. So where are we heading next? Just going to wrap this up. I've only got a couple of minutes left. We're building a profession that's not only competent, but confident. We want a profession that celebrates diversity, that values education, and genuinely changes lives. This is what we do every day. So the PFS is 20 years old this year, and in many ways, I think we're just getting started. We've come a long way. It's been tough these last few years, but we know there's a lot more to do. Certainly, in my opinion, the clarity's back. The momentum is building. We've got a lot of ideas, and the future is bright. So to those of you that already get involved in giving your time, your voice, your energy, thank you. To those of you who are yet to get involved, this really is your moment. I'm really proud to serve as president and chair of the PFS. It's a privilege to lead in a year when so much really is possible. And I hope that you'll join us, walk alongside us in building a profession that we really can all be proud of. So as I said, I'll put some links in the chat, but thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for everything you do. And Martin, thank you for giving me some time today.
Thank you, Carla. It's great to hear such a positive message coming from the PFS, despite the issues that we're all aware of. And also, it's brilliant that we have this ongoing relationship with MDRT and PFS. We can grow together, and that's what this group is all about, is being better at what we do. Next, we are going to have one of our very own talking about a subject that we probably could all benefit from hearing more about once again. And that is the subject of life insurance. I don't know about you guys, but I probably do not do enough of this. So Paolo is going to talk to us for the next 10-15 minutes about how he is positioning whole of life insurance. Over to you, Paolo.
Thank you. Martin, I can just share my screen, can I?
You should be able to.
Yeah, okay. So
at the bottom.
Just here, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much. Thank you. Oh dear. Apologies. No, for some reason it's not allowing me to share.
If you just use your slides then as your
Yeah.
prompt. I'm more
And
interested in what you've got to say, really. Then.
okay, all right, okay. Well, obviously we're all aware of what's going on with inheritance tax. Everybody that I'm meeting now are fairly wealthy, because I tend to deal with people that have got several millions, and of course we all know about the problems that are going to happen from 2027 in respect of the pensions. Although it's not actually gone through, it's probably going to affect a lot of people. So I actually went back in time a few months ago, listening to the MDRT 1979. It was a sort of debacle that was something that I got involved in '92, and we effectively found that it's regenerated my thinking with setting up whole of life planning. Just a bit of history about whole of life. Life assurance began in the UK in 1583. Lloyd's of London then shaped it in the 17th century. The Amicable Society was the first mutual life assurance provider in 1706. Equitable Life, which unfortunately is no longer around, pioneered the first premiums and scientific underwriting. And then the Life Assurance Act 1974 introduced the requirement for insurable interest. Whole of life assurance provides guaranteed lifelong cover and a tax-free lump sum on death. It's often used to meet inheritance tax liabilities without the need to sell assets, important assets. A lot of people don't want to give away their assets during their lifetime for whatever reason, so they have a problem with that. Placing the plan in trust keeps it outside the estate, ensures quick access for beneficiaries. Advisors value its certainty, simplicity, and flexibility in estate planning, and there's thousands of plans sold every year. Unlike term assurance, it offers certainty. We're actually, as a practice, we're looking, because a lot of our clients have chosen to keep their pensions as the last place to take their benefits. We're now looking, where applicable and where appropriate, we're looking at transferring pension withdrawals by funding the policy and convert the taxable pension into a tax-free inheritance, protecting your wealth from a potential 40% tax charge. And of course, we all hopefully understand that you can give away as much money as you want to from your excess income. So a lot of my clients are in their 70s, so they might have an income of, say, £9 a month net, but they're only spending £3,000 a month net because they no longer travel. And so we're talking to clients about using that money in a better position so that their estate is not growing and causing more problems. When held in trust, the policy pays out tax-free, ensuring that your family receive 100% of the benefit. Mitigating tax risk. Proactively addressing IHT means that you avoid leaving your beneficiaries with a burdensome tax bill, and typically HMRC want their money within 6 months. The cost of the policy, this is the interesting part, and this is where I went back to the recording of 1979, and I'll put a link in at some point. But this guy who was talking at the time was a phenomenal speaker, and he was talking about the problem with the IRS in America. And this guy he wasn't really up to sort of taking out a life assurance plan. But when you actually analyse the cost, I did one yesterday, and the estate's worth about 2.3 million. The cost of the life assurance is 0.26% of their estate. So when you actually analyse that, what's the choice? Do you do nothing, and then your estate pays 40% of the of the liability on death, or do you plan ahead? And it's quite obvious. We're starting to do on average about one policy a month, at the present time. And we've just issued a plan this month for 30,000 per annum, which obviously sounds a lot of money, but we're talking about an 86-year-old lady that's got, you know, has got the money in the pension fund of 1.6 million. So quite clearly she wasn't drawing on that pension fund, and so it's just waiting to be attacked by HMRC. It's an affordable way to safeguard your legacy. You retain capital ownership of all your assets during your lifetime. And too often people put off legacy planning until it's too late to make the most of it. Planning your legacy isn't just about what you leave behind, it's about how you leave it and the impact it has on people that you care about. It's not only about passing on wealth, but it's about creating something meaningful and lasting for your loved ones. Whole of life assurance isn't just covering funeral expenses, it's a strategic tool to solve inefficient taxation, ensuring your estate remains intact for future generations. Sorry, I can't put the slides up, Martin, but we offer clients the choice to have commission paid to our company, or where appropriate, we can rebate the commission into the plan, and that reduces the cost over the lifetime, which can be significant. We then agree a negotiable fee instead, and I've done that on a number of occasions, and the clients see the benefit and they know we're trying to do the right thing for the client, really. And of course the money that they pay as a fee comes off their top line and it's immediately outside of the estate for 40% tax. Just to give you an example of the most recent one that I've done, we obviously use cash flow modelling to make sure the clients can afford to pay the premium for the whole of their life up to, say, 100 years of age. In this real life example, we normally set up joint life plans, but this lady was a divorcee at age 62. The sum assured was 400,000 level, and we also use gifts in the future to spend capital on lifestyle. The cost of the plan is £7,500 per annum guaranteed premiums. The cost over 10 years was will be 75,000, over 20 years 150,000, over 30 years 226,000, and over 40 years, if she lived that long, is 301,000. And the sum assured, as I said, is 400,000. This plan, on average, a whole of life assurance taken out at 62 normally pays out around 22 to 25 years. So when you actually analyse it, where else are you going to get that kind of value guaranteed? And of course, if legislation changes, the life assurance plan is in trust, so we don't have to worry about what we're worrying about now with pension changes, trusts and so forth. I'm not saying that we wouldn't use those kind of things, but it makes it simple for a client to provide for their inheritance. Going back to, we've recently implemented a number of whole of life plans for clients with inheritance tax. These plans offer the flexibility and help to simplify the estate, making them a highly effective solution in the right circumstances. Whilst I continue to use a range of strategies, whole of life policies have proven particularly valuable when used alongside other estate planning methods. And all I would like to leave you with is my recommendation would be to listen to, I'll send a link, but listen to the $1 Million Roundtable. I bought a cassette, which I no longer have, can't find it, but I was able to find the link. And it really, although it's out of date in terms of perhaps compliance and so forth, the concepts are really, really good. And there's one particular part where he talks about sorting out inheritance tax, and it's really powerful and hopefully will motivate others. If there's any questions, please feel free to either speak to me now or email me across.
Thank you, Paolo. That's a really good reminder for all of us. I know that I don't consider it as much as I should do. So yeah,
Why? Can I ask you, Martin, why?
why?
Yeah.
I think, just speaking personally, there is a
Sorry to put you on the spot, Martin.
yeah, no, it's all right. It's all right. I like it. There's a reluctance for people in the UK to buy life insurance, so I think we all have to get better at promoting the benefits of it. Back in
Okay.
the 70s, it would have been we'd have to get better at selling it, but
Yeah.
we need to be better at promoting the benefits. It's forward funding your tax, basically. You can either pay it later by taking your estate apart, or you can forward fund it now.
Yeah.
Take your pick. And we're all going to be looking for strategies with the expected changes in pensions. So very timely.
I think, as I said, I won't go on more, but if I send the link again to you, Martin, and perhaps put it out, there's a part of that recording which is mind blowing. Really, it sort of talks about interest rate. The guy says, you know, if there's a scheme where you could pay so much up front to in the revenue. I know it's not quite true, but it's an analogy. And he said, how much would be the interest rate? And for example, the guy, it was a long time ago, might have said 10% or whatever. But when you consider that you can fund the life insurance from your estate to the equivalent of between a quarter and nearly 0.5%, you've then got the rest of the capital to invest. I'm sure you could make a return on that money. And then, of course, the strategy then is, of course, is to encourage families to start spending their money now. We won't go into that, but where they might be basic rate taxpayers, rather than leaving a 40%. And we're already encouraging clients to take money out of pensions, and they're doing family holidays and so forth. Well, I hope that's been quite useful.
Very, very flavoursome, I think, and it's topical at the moment. So really appreciated, and we will definitely share that link with everybody on our email list.
I'll try and learn how to use slides in future.
Yeah, no, you did very well. Thank you, Paolo.
Thank
Right,
you.
moving on. In the style of $1 Million Roundtable, one of the favourites of the annual event is MDRT Speaks, where real life financial advisors from all over the world share for a few moments one of their top tips in terms of how they help their clients. So without further ado, we're going to dive in. So you'll have to be on the ball if you're one of the five. Ed Marshall, it's your time to shine.
All right, thank you very much, Martin. Good morning, everyone. Really chuffed to be asked to speak this morning. I've got 3 minutes, so I'd better get on with it. Talk about how we can quietly transform the way that we work. Clean questions, and more broadly, how we can deepen trust, uncover values, and add real human value by listening without an agenda. Now, in her book, NLP at Work, Sue Knight describes clean questions. And these clean questions are those that are free from our own assumptions. We're not trying to fix, solve, or lead. Instead, we're helping clients uncover their own meaning. NLP at Work, it's a 14-hour listen on Audible. Chapter 6, Clean Questions, incredibly valuable. Rather than jumping into advice mode or offering a solution, what we're doing is asking things like, what's important about that to you? Or tell me more about what that means to you. So let's say you're asking a client, what would you like to get from our time together today? And they say, well, I'd like more security. Rather than assume that we know what this means, simply ask, well, what's more important about security to you? And they might say something like, it's about knowing my family will be okay if something happens to me. That's a very different, more emotionally rich conversation than simply diving in, talking about what we think they might want to talk about, life insurance or investments. Let's say the client tells us that they want freedom. We ask, well, tell me more about what freedom means to you. They might say, well, it means that I can spend time with my grandkids without needing to worry about money. The whole point here is that we're not directing the conversation. We're holding space for something deeper to emerge. And that's the heart of the values-based financial planning, as Bill Backrack teaches, that many of you will know that I'm passionate about. When we help our clients articulate their values in their own words, trust increases, clarity deepens, and our advice becomes more relevant and more personal. Now, this connects beautifully with another book that I love called The Present by Spencer Johnson. It's a much shorter read. For those of you that might have come across Who Moved My Cheese, it's the same author, so highly recommend The Present by Spencer Johnson. His central message is simple and profound. The best way to serve others and to live fully is to be present, not to be distracted by past or proven outcomes, not to be driven by an agenda, but to be truly present. And clean questions do exactly that. They center us in the moment, and they show our clients, I'm here, I'm listening, and I'm genuinely interested in what matters most to you. Now, many of you will have heard of Julian Treasure. I've had the privilege of listening to him speak twice at MDRT. He studies the way that we listen, and he talks about the importance of listening, not just to respond, but to understand. He says most people listen through filters, impatience, bias, or their own internal narrative. But the most powerful kind of listening is what he calls conscious listening, where we give someone our full attention without rushing to fill the silence. And this is what those clean questions create. A space where silence isn't awkward, but generous, where we can ask the client what's important about the answer to their last question to them, and then we can sit back, we can be quiet, and let them be heard perhaps more deeply than they ever have before. So in the power that we have within our profession, when we lead with presence and we listen with intention and with curiosity, not control, we invite conversations that don't just uncover our clients' goals, it uncovers their values, and that is where the trust is built. So I'll leave you with this. In your next client meeting, try showing up with one less answer and one more question. Something as simple as, tell me more about what that means to you, and then pause and really listen. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I was on mute then. Thank you, Ed. That was awesome. Next up, we've got Kath Goff. Are you ready?
Thanks, Martin. Yes, I am. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kath Goff, the Managing Director at Kingsland Wells Management, and I've been an MDRT member since 2018. So let me ask you, are you focusing on what only you can do? And I mean genuinely the things that absolutely only you can do. Because if you're not, then not only are you holding yourself back, but you're also holding your team back from their own development. And of course, that means that you're holding your business back. Now, often this might be because you're becoming a bottleneck and you're not focusing your attention on the right things. And of course, delegating, or perhaps a better description is letting go, can be something that's easier said than done. It's certainly something that has been an issue for me in the past. And as a way to get started, if you haven't done it recently, or maybe you haven't done it at all, have a look at where you're spending your time and do it down to every last detail. And ask yourself if it really should be you doing it. And I perhaps do this over a few days and note down everything you spend your time on, no matter how small that might be, and then review the list and categorize it into things that genuinely only you can do, the things that maybe you're good at, but if you're honest with yourself, somebody else could do it, and maybe they might do it better than you. And of course, the things that you don't enjoy at all. And then start delegating those things. Start with the things that you don't enjoy and then work up the list. But regularly repeat this process. Do the list again. Things will change. Your team's skills will grow and you might be able to delegate more. And doing this then means that you can focus on the things that are important, because you should really be spending your time on those things only you can do. Things like meeting with your clients, putting strategies together with your clients, spending time thinking strategically about your business and working on your business and not just in it. And I can honestly say that making myself let go of things and focusing on the things that are important has really helped me to not only grow the business, but also to realize that some of the team really want to get more involved. Maybe you've got team members who are sitting there desperate to do some more, to learn some more skills. So give them that opportunity. And of course, you might be sitting there thinking, well, that's great, but I don't have a team. I don't have anyone to delegate to. And if that's the case, then perhaps start with thinking about outsourcing. Now, of course, I know that there's a cost involved if you're going to outsource, But if doing it means that you can spend time creating extra revenue, then outsourcing is going to more than pay for itself. And you should probably really be thinking of not outsourcing as being the cost. So I have only got my 3 minutes and I don't want to run the clock. I don't want to upset Martin. So I would just leave you with, don't hold yourself back and don't hold your team or your business back. So start focusing on what only you can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Kath. I'm making loads of notes here, so I hope all you guys are, because we'll easily forget all of this stuff once we get into the next thing that we're doing today. So next up, new speaker here. I've got big expectations here. We have Dinesh Bhawani with his next 3 minutes of top tip.
Morning, everyone. Thanks for inviting me over. I've been a member of MDRT now, getting to 2 years now. Been a financial advisor for over close to 20 years. And my top tip is niche marketing. So a bit about me. I was a senior financial advisor at HSBC for a couple of years before I moved across to medical sickness, where we took great interest in identifying the issues with the NHS pension. And we started focusing with all the different medical segments, whether they're doctors, GPs, dentists, and we specialized with that, and we started working with NHS BSA. So for the last 15 years, I have been working very, very closely with different sectors within the NHS, and we have developed a tool where it streamlines the NHS pension, which is the main key area of financial planning. And we came across many of our clients who had opted out of the NHS pension because they were advised by financial advisors, not knowing much about the NHS pension. And the phrase I would tell everyone is, don't let the tax tail wag the dog. And every client that we were meeting, or almost every client we were meeting out, they were either an opted out member of the NHS pension because they were concerned with tax charges, whether it was lifetime allowance, whether it was annual allowance tax charges, not realizing how important the the NHS pension is and the benefits that they offer. So my key top for everyone, I mean, is niche marketing. If you know an area, dive deep into it, understand that segment, how it works, get connected with key members of that segment, and meet up with them and see how best you can work with them and provide them with solutions which they need. And as Ed said, you've got to listen to your clients and support them as much as possible, which is what we have done. We identified that there was an issue with pensions, and that's why over the last 5 or 6 years we've developed a tool which is simplifying the process for most of the medics right now. And Quilter have taken a great interest in investing in our business as well. So yeah, but it's all part of focusing in a target area, target marketing, and growing the business and meeting key contacts within the area. And today I'm working with across 17 health boards all over UK, going around doing NHS pension talks. On the back of that is cash flow analysis and supporting with them. And if you do come across medics who are opted out of the NHS pension, the advice is to stay in the pension scheme and not come out of it, because the many benefits associated within the NHS pension scheme and other public sector pension schemes. So that's a top tip. And working on the niche, there is something that's happened recently with the government. Have lost the age discrimination case where members were put into the 2015 into the new scheme, but they're all getting put back into the legacy scheme. And just to put you into perspective, in the NHS alone itself, there are 1 million members impacted by it. And the NHS BSA, the pension team, are struggling coping with it, and we're supporting them in getting this area addressed. So key tip would be focus on niche marketing and focus on the sector. If you know a sector well, dive deep down, understand how it works, and see how you can support the clients in that area, which is what we're doing. So that's what we tend to do. Yeah, at Genius Limited. Yeah. And anyone needs support in this area, more than happy to help you. Yeah.
Thank you, Dinesh. Big subject, niche marketing, which we'd all like to know more about. Time is moving on. So, Gary Metcalf, you're on. Unmute.
This is the bit Kath always worries about, isn't it, Kath?
There's no photos, we'll be fine.
Can you all see that? Okay, I think we all care about our clients, and how do we show that we care? So I use a lot of books, send books to clients all the time. Years ago, I used to send a thank you card after a prospect had become a client. Then I heard this idea from Dave Batchelor. He said, well, send a book with the following message, which is thank you for your business, and we look forward to working with you over the coming years. So at the first meeting, I try and find out what clients' interests and hobbies are, so I can send an appropriate book to them. An example of this is the Porsche book. At the second meeting, the client couldn't wait to show me his pride of joy, his red Porsche in the garage. So after we became a client, I sent him the Porsche book, 70 years, and I got the following message back. We have just opened a large package from Gemini to find your incredible, generous gift. On behalf of both of us, thank you so much for this superb book. So you always get a lovely message back. Other prospects, one of them was unfortunately a Birmingham City fan, someone who did classic cars in his spare time, and someone who loved going to the Lake District. If it really haven't got an interest, then I send Chicken Soup for the Soul, which has lots of lovely stories in it. So always send a book after a prospect becomes a client. Existing clients. I'm sure you've all read the book, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse. It's such a lovely book. Hired this during COVID. So I sent 30 of these to clients who were on their own, mainly widows. The feedback I had was amazing. And I always put a lovely, nice message in the book. So I now still use it if somebody's had a bereavement or is going through a tough time. I recently sent it to a client whose daughters, would you believe this, one had been attacked in Australia, and 2 months later, the other daughter was attacked a mile from her home. So I sent them the book with a nice message, and the message I got back from the clients was, thank you for the lovely book you sent the girls. It was really thoughtful. So you're always showing that you care about your clients. Die with Zero is probably one of the best books I've read. Talks about 3 time zones, 60s go-go years, 70s slow go, 80s no-go. So I've got 3 years left of go-go. So as you can imagine, I'm certainly living life to the full. And it's good to mention this book when you're doing cash flow. Clients need to realize that they don't need the same amount of money throughout their retirement. They need more at the beginning when they're fit and healthy. And the other chapter in this book, which is interesting, is if you're going to die with zero, what about the kids? Well, the author's philosophy is give it to the kids when it has the most impact, which is before you die. Because most children inherit in their 60s, but I'm sure they could do more with that money in their 40s. So I've sent 40 of these books to clients, and they've all said what a great book it is, and it's had an impact on them, either about retiring early or about giving more to their children. And finally, an idea I got from Elaine Milne. When you see that clients have got young grandchildren, send them this Dr. Seuss book with the message, this is a lovely book to read to your grandchildren. Clients love it when they suddenly receive this through the post. So remember, people don't care how much you know until you show how much you care.
Gary, thanks for that share. And as time's pressing on, Jerry Wellington, you're up next.
Morning all, nice to see so many faces. I'm going to talk about AI and simple uses of AI. I'm from Cornwall after all, I like simple. Hi Richard, by the way. fellow Cornish. So emails. I get a lot of emails. I'm sure I get far more than everyone else, but there we go. AI, I will dictate first thing in the morning and towards the end of the day, all of my emails that I want to answer into chat. If I do it on the phone and I then sync it with my desktop, I either tell chat what I want to say, or I ask chat for an idea about what I want to say. It will bung out a dozen emails at a time. I just simply cut and copy and paste, send the emails out. They very rarely require any changes, and it just deals with all the crap that we get sent through day by day. And it does it in one block lot. Carla, CPD. I use AI for CPD. It is great at writing reflective statements. Chuck the agenda of a meeting, chuck the minutes of a meeting into chat, tell it what you want to say, and these reflective statements, which are so difficult to put together yourself, will just pop out as if by magic. They're wonderful. Things coming up, we've got better, nicer withdrawal letters. Lots of companies are in this space now. Advisory AI, AutoWrite, PlannerPal, Saturn. This is the future. I'm keeping an eye on this, but if we can get something to write our suitability reports, we are going to do away with staff. And Kath, unlike you, I had a team before COVID. I had about 5 people in my team, and various reasons I have none in my team now. It is just me and Donna, and it is bloody marvellous. I hate the thought of having staff now. We do outsource, we do specialise in the things that we do, but AI has really taken over from my team, and it's an awful lot cheaper. And what I want to say as a sort of a final is I've gone backwards in order to move forwards. Because we don't have staff, I've got to do a lot more of the stuff myself, but me and AI together can do an awful lot more than me and team. Annual planning meetings, review meetings used to take 5 to 6 hours with various members of the team, including the meeting. I can now do that myself, just me with AI, in about an hour and a half. Lot of admin. I use chat to produce a checklist. 2-page checklist. This is my post-annual planning meeting checklist. It has everything that I need to put in there, but I've laminated it, and going backwards, I now use a belt tip pen. As I do these things, I check them off. I can have 3 or 4 meetings going on in my day at once, loads of things going on, and if I ever get lost as to where I'm going, I just look at my check sheet. I know exactly where I am. I know exactly what I've got to do next. So don't be afraid to go backwards in order to move forwards. And that's my 3.5 minutes up. Sorry.
Thank you, Jerry. Please stay with me, everybody, because we've got one last but very important guest. We have Nikki from IFA PA. I would guess that some of us in the room, if not all of us, would like to grow our practice. We'd like to reach more people. We'd like to build better practices. So, Nikki, what do you think is the biggest problem when any IFA practice, small or large, is looking to increase the volume of business? What do you think their problem is?
Yeah, thanks, Martin. Good morning to everybody. I think that one of the primary problems that I pick up a lot from a lot of the advisors that I speak to is with regards to advisor burnout. So basically, they're trying to DIY every aspect of their business as they're growing it, from the marketing, the networking, the accounts, social media, IT, setting up processes and procedures, and maintaining the back office systems and so on, and following compliance standards. And whilst they're doing all of that, they've also got the actual advice process to go through, and ultimately looking after their clients. And so this brings such an ever-increasing admin workload, which, as they try and scale their businesses, they might feel that they have to work on the admin workload themselves. The problem with this is that not everybody is able to DIY every aspect of running a business. I know that Jerry's just spoken there about AI. That's fantastic, but some people do kind of struggle with getting to grips with kind of technology and the ever-changing kind of technology that's there. So it might perhaps be that they're not happy and able to do certain elements of the business, and what that basically leads to is that certain functions can get left behind or put sort of lower down on the list of priority, and ultimately it takes the attention of the advisor away from the heart of what they want to be doing, which is the actual advising. So if they do it all, which there is so much there that they have to do to grow the business, it can also lead to work-life balance being compromised, which I know that a lot of advisors who sort of talk about the burnout that they're on, they feel that they can't leave their emails alone. They feel that they're on call day and night to respond quickly to their clients, and they work on holidays, and all of this, can have obvious consequences to personal relationships, to their own health and well-being. And so I think essentially burnout is something that a lot of advisors really need to pay attention to, because it could stop them from giving their business and their growth plans the full attention that it deserves.
So is the answer for us to just employ more people? Is that the answer?
I don't think so necessarily, and especially not in the early days of growth as the business is growing. I think initially advisors may look to recruit an employed administrator so that function is taken care of, but financial services admin is ever increasing, and it's generally the first function that advisors wish to delegate so that they can have the freedom to grow the business. Ultimately, amazing administrators are absolutely worth their weight in gold to help the advisor, but there's obvious commitments to recruiting and managing admin staff. Recruitment itself can be lengthy and costly. Finding and retaining good admin staff can be tricky, especially if you're not in largely populated areas or cities. Ultimately, the whole picture is costly. So you've got bums on seats, PAYE, national insurance, pension costs. I'm probably preaching to the converted here for you all, but you've got your holiday, your sick pay, your monthly salary commitments, IT costs, insurance, employer responsibilities. It doesn't give much wiggle room for the flexibility that we're talking about here in growing the business. Advisors themselves may not also want to be managers. Employing staff, it means that there's that management responsibility, and they don't want the HR burden of being an employer. So I talk to a lot of advisors about what happens also as well during their quiet period. So some have, throughout the year where they're planning their annual reviews. August and December typically in the lives of the advisors I speak to tend to be quite quiet. So you've got to be thinking all the time about what you do to fill that employee who has got that monthly commitment of the salary. What can you do to fill their time? There's also a training element. So, all employees, of course, they want growth and development. People aspire to learn the trade, and quite rightly then move on to power planning and advising. And it just becomes a burden on the advisor to facilitate this. So it leaves the advisor back having the admin gap that they've got to fill again. The cycle starts again. You've got your recruitment, your training, your management. I will say that being an employer has absolutely wonderful benefits. I employ staff, and it is an absolutely fantastic way once the business gets to that point. But whilst it's in that period of growth, it can be that commitment and burden that the advisor perhaps feels it's just spinning too many plates at the same time.
So if we don't want to employ, and we talked about outsourcing already. A big issue I think IFAs worry about when outsourcing is the protection of the client data. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts on the client data. I mean, the risk is real. We are in this world, aren't we now, where there's the cybersecurity element of it. We have to consider this day in, day out, and it has to be just managed well. An outsourced company will have their own procedures, but my advice would be that an advisor should be really having those really in-depth conversations with outsourced companies about how they handle the data. Do they have a good IT company who do regular reviews on company equipment, encryption, antivirus software, how passwords are stored, and how secure the systems are, and ensure that regular procedures and training is in place so that there's no data protection breaches.
Critically important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Values at the top of the list for all of us, I would imagine here. Why are values important in terms of looking at a flexible way of growing the business?
Yeah, I mean, I talk about values pretty much every day in, day out. It's at the heart to me of growing a business and working with people and looking after advisors and their businesses. And I think it's really important to align your values as an advisor to create that really good working relationship between you and the admin. So for me, a key value is it's got to be trust. The advisor's business is their baby. They've put their heart and soul into it. They've started to grow the business from the ground up, and they've got to essentially open up their business to let that admin person in. So trust is absolutely imperative to release the grip on how the advisor's spending their time on the admin. Obviously, open and honest communication, another top value for me. An outsourced person won't be sat next to you in the office, because they're working remotely. So you've got to be able to clearly communicate using online meetings, phone calls, tech to record everything from a compliance point of view. So it's essential that it should be something that every advisor looks for when outsourcing, as to, are their values aligned with the person that they're going to be delegating the work to?
So as this is a top tip meeting, what would your top tip be to any of us looking to outsource some of the functions that perform every day in our business?
Yeah, my top tip will be setting goals and planning is clearly important in your business, but think about the wow moment. I always ask the advisors what their wow moment is, so what they want to achieve in the next month, 1 year, 2 years, and so on. Once they realise what that wow moment is, it could be anything from increasing your revenue, putting the processes in the business in place, getting X number of clients, or on a more personal level, stopping working weekends and evenings. Then share that in the early conversations with your outsourced provider. Be really honest with them, be very vulnerable, show them where the blockages are that you face in the business, and that will help open up that conversation with your outsourced provider to get to the heart of what's stopping you growing the business and to fix that problem for you.
And finally, Nikki, is it okay that we share your details with the people on this call?
Of course it is. Of course it is. Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me. It's been really wonderful to listen to everybody this morning and to be part of the group. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Nikki.
You're welcome.
2 minutes to go, bringing it home. Next month is MDRT Miami Annual Conference. There will be a whole group of us there, and it'd be great to see you all in person rather than on this Zoom call. As a consequence, there will be no MDRT Zoom meeting in June, but we absolutely will be doing one in July. And the focus will be on what we have all picked up whilst we're there. So I will be looking for contributors for our July meeting. We will also be having a UK night on the Saturday night in Miami. We don't have a venue as such yet because it's been very difficult to find the venue that is cost effective, but that will be organised by our very own Toby when he gets there, because he's getting on there on the Tuesday. But we'd love to see you all there on the Saturday night to kick off the meeting, to make sure we get the very most of it. And it is 1 minute to 9. I never thought we were going to be able to achieve this because we packed a lot in. It's been great to see you all. And if you're in Miami, I will see you there. If not, I will see you on the Zoom in July. Thank you and good morning to all of you.
Good, everyone.